Women express desire far more through silence than through words. What they want most is almost never spoken aloud. In fact, the things she never directly asks for are usually the very things she longs for the deepest. And the men who understand this unspoken language hold the real advantage. Back in the late 1950s, research on cognitive dissonance revealed a powerful truth. There is often a gap between what people claim to want and what their nervous system actually responds to. Women may say one thing, but their body, behavior, and emotional reactions often reveal something entirely different. This isn't manipulation, it's biology. It's about understanding how desire is wired beneath conscious awareness. Most men go through life focused on surface-level cues. They listen closely to her words, but they overlook her actions. They ignore energy, timing, behavior, and emotional shifts. Then they're confused when passion fades months into a relationship, when she becomes distant, or when chemistry turns formal and transactional. What they were never taught is this: female desire doesn't follow logic. It follows something far older than logic. Something that existed before language itself. Women grew up learning that wanting too much, asking directly, or showing eagerness often came with social consequences. So instead of speaking plainly, desire became encoded. It shows up in pauses, tension, reactions, resistance, and silence. If you can't read that code, you're always responding too late, reacting instead of leading. This matters because your ability to interpret these unspoken signals shapes your entire intimate life. Not your income, not your appearance, not your rehearsed charm. What matters is whether you can sense what she needs before she's forced to turn it into words. That's the difference between being deeply desired and merely tolerated. Research into female sexuality has shown that desire strengthens in the presence of controlled uncertainty, not chaos, but unpredictability with structure. The same brain chemicals involved in early attraction, dopamine, anticipation, heightened focus, don't come from comfort alone. They come from tension, timing, and a man who understands when to lean in and when to pull back. Brain imaging studies support this. When women feel strong attraction, the brain activates regions tied to craving, pursuit, and wanting, not comfort or attachment. This isn't a flaw, it's an evolutionary feature. Biology doesn't care about politeness or social ideals. It responds to what works. So let's move beneath the surface and into the behaviors women crave but will almost never verbalize. Not because they're manipulative, but because speaking these desires out loud would weaken their effect. Some truths lose their power once they're explained. There are 6 behaviors that activate something primal in the female nervous system. 6 things she wants you to do, but will never directly ask for. First, she wants to feel slightly unbalanced, not unsafe, but relieved of control. Real dominance isn't loud or forceful, it's quiet certainty. It shows up in decisive movement, confident touch, and choosing direction without hesitation. Women spend their lives managing, deciding, and holding everything together. When she's with you, she wants to release that responsibility. She wants to feel led without having to ask. She can't request this directly. The moment she has to instruct you to lead, the dynamic collapses. What she wants is your awareness, your ability to sense when she's testing your steadiness and respond without force or apology. Second, she wants you to stop asking permission for everything. Constant checking dissolves tension. Desire doesn't grow in negotiation. Confidence means reading the moment and acting with calm certainty. Consent is essential, but it doesn't require verbal approval at every step. It requires presence, attunement, and trust. When you act with measured boldness, she stops feeling like your guide and starts feeling like your partner. That shift changes everything. Third, she wants you to stand your ground when challenged. Tests aren't attacks, they're evaluations. When you collapse, apologize excessively, or seek reassurance, something inside her disengages. Stability isn't proven through compliance, it's proven through calm resistance. Healthy attraction survives friction. What matters isn't avoiding conflict, but maintaining your identity through it. When you remain grounded instead of reactive, you communicate strength without aggression. That immovability is what she's responding to. Fourth, she wants mystery to remain alive. Total transparency kills desire. When everything about you is immediately accessible, curiosity dies. Attraction needs space. It needs the unknown. Intimacy and desire are not the same thing. Closeness without polarity becomes friendship. Having your own inner world, your own direction, and parts of yourself that aren't constantly shared keeps tension alive. Predictability is comforting, but comfort alone doesn't create desire. Fifth, she wants your purpose to come before her. This sounds counterintuitive, but it's critical. When a man centers his entire existence around a woman, attraction fades. Purpose signals direction. Ambition signals capability. She doesn't want to be your world. She wants to join one you're building. When you protect your mission, she feels respect instead of pressure. Value creates pursuit. Availability without direction creates suffocation. Sixth, she wants you to end the interaction first. Lingering drains energy. Overstaying removes tension. Experiences are remembered by their peak and their ending. When you leave while things are still strong, you stay on her mind. When you cling, you fade. Attraction grows in absence, not saturation. The person who controls separation holds the power, not by manipulation, but by having a life that naturally pulls them forward. Here's the truth most men never hear. Women don't want you to ask them what they want. They want you to understand without asking. Desire cannot be negotiated. It can't be reasoned into existence. It can only be triggered through behavior, presence, and certainty. Most men play it safe. They soften themselves. They try to offend no one and excite no one. Desire is built on polarity, risk, and leadership. It requires the courage to move without guarantees. Men who understand this don't seek approval. They don't wait for validation. They move with grounded certainty, not arrogance, certainty. And that certainty is rare. In a world full of hesitation, it's unforgettable. She'll never explain this to you. She can't. But now you see it. What you do with that awareness is your choice. Ignore it, reject it, or tune into the frequency most men never learn to hear. The decision has always been yours. And understand this, once you begin operating from this place, you don't need tactics anymore. You don't need lines. You don't need to guess. Your presence does the talking before your mouth ever opens. Women feel it immediately, not as excitement, but as gravity, a pull they can't explain without cheapening it. This is why the most attractive men rarely explain themselves. Explanation is for those seeking validation. Power doesn't need translation. You'll notice something else change too. Women will start revealing themselves without being asked. Their moods, their desires, their vulnerabilities surface naturally because your calm becomes permission, not permission given, permission felt. And that's the difference. Anyone can demand attraction. Very few can allow it to happen. This isn't about controlling women. It's about controlling yourself so completely that her nervous system finally relaxes around you. Safety without boredom. Authority without force. Distance without disconnection. That balance is rare, and rarity is desire. Most men never arrive here because it requires letting go of the performance, letting go of the need to be liked, letting go of the fear of being misunderstood. But the moment you stop trying to be chosen is the moment women start choosing you. You don't need her approval. You don't need her reassurance. You don't need her permission. You need alignment with yourself, with your direction, with the man you move through the world as. When that alignment is present, attraction is no longer something you chase. It becomes something that finds you. And once that happens, nothing about your interactions will ever feel the same again.